Hello, it's Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener. Time to talk about hot tubs and spas for your backyard. Oh my goodness, it's just so relaxing to sit in a nice hot tub with those jet streams vibrating, especially after a long, hard day or hard week. So there is a difference between the built-in and the prefabricated kind. So let's kind of go through all of these, the pluses and minuses, what they cost, and how easy they are to install. So let's start with the custom-built hot tubs. Now these are usually connected to a swimming pool, although you can get them built separately by themselves, just the hot tub. But let's talk about the ones that are connected to a pool, even if it's a small pool like this one. Typically, they are built in such a way that they are slightly elevated so that if it overflows, that excess really hot water goes into a pool. Now, the hot tub water is going to typically be about 10 to 20 degrees hotter than the pool, so it's a way of keeping it warm. This is one that's a freestanding hot tub, the hot tub that is just by itself, no connecting pool. And by the way, in case you're wondering why there's these flowers and candles, there was a wedding in this backyard and they decorated it really nicely for the wedding. And it turned out great. That's a whole different video. Moving on. So this is a freestanding hot tub just by itself. It didn't have a pool, but it has a lot of the equipment that a pool has. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Here's another one that's connected to the pool. Again, it's a little higher, so it overflows into the pool, but the same materials. Same thing here, lovely blue tile on the pool itself, really kind of neat. So again, let's talk about the pool equipment. So a custom-built hot tub is still going to have the exterior pump and filter and heater, all three of those things, to power that. And that's the reason why they cost so much. They start at about $20,000 and can go up to about $40,000 just for the hot tub. And that's why they tend to be really, really pricey. And you don't see a lot of them separate from a pool. But then if you do a pool, the whole thing, the pool is going to start at about $100,000 with that hot tub next to it. Here's another one that was kind of nice. It was built right on top of a little sloping area, so we built a deck around it so that the hot tub would then really flow down into the pool. It was a really cool waterfall effect that was really kind of nice. Another one here was built part of an infinity pool. Now here we put it kind of closer to the edge so that when you're sitting in that hot tub, you can really enjoy that view. Again, you're a little higher up than the pool itself. And then this one was an older one that was built, probably 30 years ago. We just changed out the pool deck. And again, it's just a little bit higher, so it overflows into the pool. This one's another one that we retrofitted all the materials and really overhauled the pool itself, replastered it, did a nice PebbleTech finish. And again, this one is kind of fun because it overflows into the pool. As part of the retrofit, the lighting was changed. And one of the nice things about these custom builds, you can do this. This kind of cool LED lighting is really kind of nice. All right, now let's talk about prefabricated hot tubs, also known as jacuzzis, although not all of them are jacuzzis. Here's an example one. This is actually Cal Spas, which is a competitor of Jacuzzi. But it's all basically the same concept. They are preformed plastic shells with a lot of jets all over them. The advantage of these, in addition to being half the cost of a built-in, is you get a lot more design flexibility. I've been designing backyards and front yards for 20 years, and it really kind of is nice that you can integrate them into an overall bigger picture design with a lot more flexibility. So let's talk about how these things are installed. Here's one getting offloaded. Just two guys. They got it off the truck all by themselves, put it on a dolly, wheel it to the backyard, and get it there. Now, part of where it gets put in, it obviously has to have the electrical run to that area. And we'll talk about electrical in just a second. Once the jacuzzi's in and flattened and leveled, then they bust open the side panel, the utility panel, and start connecting all that electrical. Now, these jacuzzis are self-contained. They have their own heater and everything in it. So they really just need the electrical to power the heater, to power the pumps. Here's the panel for this particular one. You can see it's a 240 volt one, and that actually has two pumps that use a total of 40 amps. So typically when you do these hot tubs, they need their own dedicated spot on the breaker panel, and you may have to upgrade your breaker panel to accommodate those electrical needs. And it's important, if you're going to do a jacuzzi like this or a hot tub, that you understand that you're going to have those additional electrical needs that have to be accounted for in powering these. And now this one's all set up and the water is flowing, and it's just so wonderful. We're going to look at some different design possibilities with jacuzzis in backyards in just a second, but I wanted to kind of take a moment to show you how it was all put together, and then kind of enjoy this wonderful bubbling water motion. Here's a better shot of all the jets inside it. You can see this particular one has a lot of different sitting positions. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the nice things about it is, you know, if you're just doing the prefabricated hot tub, you have some nice design possibilities. So the first one you saw was flat on the ground. This one has a deck built around it so that you don't have to quite step so high to get into it. It makes it pretty easy. This is a 12-inch high deck, so it cuts down the stepping distance into the hot tub to only about 24 inches. This one is a 24-inch high deck, so now you only have 12 inches. Most hot tubs are about 36 inches high to step into them. So these little these custom-built decks around it give it a really nice, A, they make the yard look wonderful, and B, make it easier to get in and out of. Here is another one. And by the way, this is a TimberTech material. Some of the previous ones were Trex materials. It's a synthetic board material, so it can hold up to getting wet all the time, which is an important consideration when you're dealing with these. Also, when you do these kind of wraparound decks, it's important that you still have a couple of pieces that are removable, so you have access to that utility section of the hot tub itself. And here's one where there's no deck, but it was integrated into an overhauled landscape. We did the hot tub right next to a wonderful shade structure. This is a wonderful shade structure kit by Jacuzzi. That was last week's video. And then we kind of had another spot in the garden where we added a fire pit, so you could go from hot tub to fire pit. Another thing to consider is privacy. This one, we had a little privacy screen built around it so the neighbors couldn't quite see in. So let's talk about the cost of the hot tub. These prefabricated hot tubs are going to cost about $10,000 to $15,000, including that electrical hookup. Doesn't include the pad it sits on, but it does include that electrical. And of course, if your panel's in bad shape, it's going to maybe be a little bit more. But it's still half the cost of a custom-built hot tub. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind. Here's another example of a backyard that we designed around the hot tub. We actually terraced this backyard. You saw this one in last week's video. So that we built this lovely retaining wall so we could push the hot tub out as far as we could to really enjoy this view. So when these folks are sitting in their hot tub, they get to just enjoy this fabulous view, have a glass of wine. The kids are playing over there on the grass area. It's a really wonderful little area. Like I said, I've been designing landscapes for 20 years. This is one of my favorite backyards that I've ever done. Well, that's all the time we have for right now. This is Doug, the Two-Minute Gardener, saying if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button to get more of my garden videos. Until next time, this is Doug, the Two-Minute Gardener, saying thanks for watching.